So probably one of the questions I get asked most about my car is the 88 swap. This is a Ford 88 out of an Explorer. You can find them in a 95 to 01. My car is a Plymouth A-body, which is 67 to 73, I think is all the same, maybe 72. We'll kind of go over like the main points, the width, what I had to do to it, some of the gear ratios you can do, and how strong these are in this video. Still sitting here, we'll kind of go over a couple things like wheel fitment, axles. The 95 to 2001 Explorer and Mountaineer axles are what most people use. They come with disc brakes factory. Most of them are cheap. I think I bought 2 of these for a total of $125. I did that because when you swap these, the common thing is to use 2 short side axles. Most of the junkyards around me don't want to sell you just an axle because it ruins pretty much the whole axle's use. So I bought 2 axles and put the 2 short sides together, threw it together, and I have a shortened axle. Now these, when you shorten them, when you cut the long side axle tube, which is the driver's side, and we'll kind of show you that here in a second, but when you cut them and take 2 7/8 inch out, it narrows it down to a 56.5 inch flange to flange, or disc to disc, basically, which is a little bit wider than the factory or non-factory. The 7 1/4 I think is 52 inches disc or drum to drum, and I can't remember what the 8 3/4 is. I think 52 5/8, 52.5. I scribbled down on my hand, but. So this goes to 56. These are just some junk wheels that I have that are like my street tires, and I'll roll my slicks over here in just a second and show you guys those. They're the same back spacing pattern. As you can see, we got clearance here. They are a 10 inch wide rim, 15 inch diameter rim. These are essentially a 28-10-5 tire, and they fit in there fine. My car is mini tubbed, and this has a 5.5 inch back spacing on it. So that's what I run. It fits great. We'll kind of show you the Fitment. I'll show you my other racing tires here right now. Let me go grab them. So these here are my racing slicks. They are the same 15 by 10 with a 5.5 inch back spacing. These are 28-10-5s. Which are a bias ply, Mickey Thompson, and they are a soft sidewall, which I need to switch to a stiff sidewall, but it's a turbo car, so you guys know how that goes. These are upgraded ARP studs. A lot of people like to use these Explorer 88s because they are the same pattern, obviously, as a large pattern Mopar. So most people who upgrade to a disc in the front will upgrade to a 5-on-4.5. These are 5-on-4.5 from the factory, so you can use those axles. The stock axles will work. Yeah, so we'll kind of show you the underneath of how much space we've got in the tub and how much offset there is, where the drive shaft is, and everything. We'll slide underneath the car and show you what that looks like. Hopefully you guys can see me. Not very much room under here. My car's not up very high. So my car is relocated. So these are a US Car Tool relocation kit on here. So I have the new hangers up front. I've got Caltrax on my car. And it's got some crappy shackles in the back that I have to get rid of eventually, but This is the 8.8 in its entirety. As you can see, it's, you know, rusty. It's as is from the junkyard. I've been hitting this thing in the face with 500 horse last year, with varying success. Obviously, my car is a turbo car, so it doesn't make a whole lot of jam on the hit. And this was a foot brake car, so next year we're going to a trans brake, and it'll probably be a lot harder on it. Like I said, these are stock 31 spline axles. I don't have any inhibitions about it braking axles because it's not a nitrous leave the line at 6,000 RPM type car. Viking shocks. Obviously, these are the US Car Tool plates that, you know, just bolt right on. I'm using factory disc from the Explorer and calipers. Not really much else to say. The weld seam that I did cut, and I'll tag that video up in the top here of when I cut this, because I actually did the section at home without any jig or anything, and it's worked fine. But the seam is right here on this U-bolt, and it's ground flush. Everything's fine on it. These are actually a 1/4 inch axle tube, so 1/4 inch wall thickness, so they're a beefy axle. The only real problems that people have are breaking these rosette welds. So I always recommend, if you do an 8.8, to go ahead and get somebody to weld this seam here from the carrier to the tube. So another thing you guys can do, these are fairly supported axles in the aftermarket. You can get good pinion yokes, and you can get good U-joint straps for them. Comes with the availability of a lot of different gears. I think 373, 355, and 327 are probably the most common Ford rear ends that you'll actually find with in an axle, which Ford gears are probably the best. A lot of the Yukon aftermarket stuff, especially on the cheaper end, are pretty junk. Like these are I think Dana gears, and they're really noisy. I actually have to change these next year, or this year, sorry. So right here's kind of the fitment, guys. I don't have the car up very high, so it's kind of hard to get a good view of what you got, but basically about 2.5, 3 inches between the inside of the tire and the frame rail. I've got basically 1 inch between the outside of the tire and the wheel tub, the outer wheel tub where the seam is. So thank you guys for watching this. Hopefully it helps anybody who's kind of thinking about this swap make their decision. It's not a hard thing to do, the shortening or the segmenting of the axle. Most people with a welder and a grinder can do it. Like I said, I'll tag the video of me doing it with a welder and grinder on a partially dirt floor. Also, if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. We're trying to grow the channel. And with that, we're trying to grow the Facebook page and the Instagram. So if you're on those platforms, please, look down in the description. It's Dirt Floor Fab Garage Talk on Facebook group, and on Instagram it's Dirt Floor Fab. So if you're on there, check my page out, see what I'm doing, consider following me, and I appreciate it. See you guys on the next one.